You know, a lot of us think that our vote does not count. I'll give you a little example. When this country decided, and I've said this so many times before, when this country decided whether German or English should be the national language of the United States, you know by how many votes English won? Anybody's guess? One vote. So every vote is important. So don't think because my vote doesn't count, so I don't have to count. Thank you.
But I think it's also important to say that voting is not as important as it is community building. You know, at the end of the day, you can be so passionate about religion, you can be so passionate about creating change, but if you put zero effort into it, it doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I do agree, voting does matter. I 100% agree, but I also agree that putting effort into building your community, putting effort into creating this foundation, creating social change within our community today, right? Being a part of campaigns, running for office. It's not enough that we're the doctors and the lawyers and the engineers of the world. We also need politicians. We also need artists. We also need social workers. We also need these people who are within the liberal arts fields. Question?
Okay, so you worked with Hillary Clinton's campaign. Now that is over and she didn't win, what overtures can we make to, I guess, what is theoretically the moderate wing of the Republican Party in order to ensure the safety of our community?
Maybe I didn't understand your question. Well, can you re-say your question? Are you saying that what are the Republicans doing?
No. I'm asking, how can we go about talking to, so I live in Mike Turner's district, right? So he's a Republican, but I think in theory at least, there's still people that care about my safety. That's the assumption I'm working under. So because the majority of Muslims, we didn't support the Republican candidates, rightly so, I think, to a certain extent, because their policies did not seem good for the country at the time. Now that they're in power, what can we do to ensure that they hear our voices and to ensure the safety of our community?
There are a lot of things technically that you can do. Number one, some things that a lot of people are doing is you mentioned Mike Turner. Mike Turner is our congressman that's within our district. A lot of people have been making calls to Mike Turner, letting Mike Turner know that we are against a lot of the cabinet members that have been appointed already. A lot of things that a lot of people are doing also calling our representative, our House representative, as well as just being involved in local government. Again, and this is just my personal opinion. My personal opinion is that the things that are most important for us as Muslims, they're not actually known within Ohio, within our local governments, because we haven't actually been active within those fields. A lot of what we have been doing, again, has really been preserving what it means to be Muslim, and what it means to be Palestinian, what it means to be Libyan, what it means to be Iraqi, what it means to, that's all of the stuff that we're kind of worried about. What we've really been doing is we work, and then we buy a house here, we get really comfortable, we send money back home, but we don't really invest within our community. Now, I'm not only talking about this community, I'm also talking about there are other communities. I'm in a totally different Muslim community, and they're dealing with some of the same issues. So when you're asking me what it is that we can do here, what we can do here is we can teach one another. We can teach one another and keep things that are important to us relevant. The only time that we ever actually organize is whenever we have a Palestinian rally. The only time that we actually organize is when there's an issue that we care so much about, which has to do with foreign policy. That's the only time we organize. For those of you who came to Linda Sassoon's event, there's one thing that she said that was extremely important. The one thing that she said that was extremely important is, justice is not about just us. There are plenty of domestic issues that are here in the United States that we as Muslims have the answer to. Plenty. We can serve on committees that are within the city. They're looking for people. They're looking for people to serve on these committees. Instead of just letting one person go to it, they're looking for people to serve on the committees for the police department, for cultural competency. They're looking for people to serve for mediation. Right now they have issues within the judicial within the courts, that they have people who do not speak English. They only speak Arabic. They don't have translators who can translate for them. They have people. There are things that we as a community can do to help. The Welcome Dayton initiative that we have here. The Catholic Social Service who brings in our refugees. There are plenty of things that we can do to change the perspective of Muslims in Dayton. We honestly just have to get up and do it. We really do. And the reality of it is that we never really cared to do any of that. If we're really true to ourselves, we never cared to really change the status quo of how Muslims are viewed until it became dangerous for us. Now we're being forced into making this change. And now that we're being forced into making this change, we have to ensure that we stay strong, that we stay together, and that we're there for one another. So if we really want to be a part of it, my first question would be this. Number one, read, educate yourselves. And the reason why I say that is because right when you start to get involved, people are going to start asking questions. Number one, they're going to start asking questions about Islam, and you want to be ready for it. You're not going to know everything before you do it. People are going to start asking hard questions. Educate yourself on the foundational principles of Islam. But also be ready to be an ambassador of Islam. And it also all depends on what level you're talking about. So if you're talking about at the community level, which is here within Dayton, you can go ahead and do some of the things that I mentioned. You can go help and volunteer at the Democratic Party. You can go help and volunteer at a lot of these social services that need the help. You can go help and volunteer at the Republican Party if you're a Republican. It doesn't really matter. If you go and volunteer at the Republican Party, I'm sure that they'll change their mind, especially if you're cool. That's honestly what's needed. And if you decide, me personally, I'm going to tell you what I'm personally going to do. Me personally, alhamdulillah, I was blessed. I was a part of it. I found my niche. I knew what my gift that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave me. My gift was that I'm good at building relationships. And so that's what I used. I built relationships. And I'm also good at putting things together and kind of articulating things. With that being said, I did it better than a lot of the people who were also organizers. And so I was chosen for opportunities that I would have never gotten if I never took the leap to move. So I'm going to be honest with you. If you really want to make a change, you have to first change yourself in the way that you think, and then take the leap. Just do it. And then at the state level, if you want to make a state level change, go and serve in Columbus. If you have the opportunity for a summer to do an internship or volunteer in Columbus, go and do it for a party. Go and do it, whether it be for the Republican Party or for the Democratic Party. Go and take an internship with a House representative or with a senator. And there's so many things that you can learn but you can also whisper things into their ears and let them know exactly what it is or how it is that Muslims are and what issues are most important to Muslims as well. So there are honestly a lot of things. There's an unlimited amount of things that you can do. Is that what that is?